Yes, guys, and a welcome from me, Challenge Manager 0102. A real quick one I'm doing here. I've hit on this before here and there, but this is a real quick one on currency inflation. Now, if you first load CM as an ODB, without any patches and stuff, then this won't affect you guys at all. This is purely for the fact of when somebody starts. Let's start as Man City actually. As this is purely for when you start on an update and you've changed the inflation using Nick's patcher. You could actually change the inflation on one of the Tapanis as well. So basically, people say, why change the inflation? I've got my own reasons why I do it. My reason is I want it to be as close to real life as possible. What do you change it? I mean, years ago, before this came out, if I just show you in settings very quickly, you could change the currency. Now, the currency, people would change to a different, was it dollars, which was almost double, something like that. Dollars was sometimes double, and it would work out roughly to real life. So what I changed mine to is the times 2.5. To go with times, I used to have it as times 2, but now I have it as 2.5. Now, if you think back, right, the ODB, the highest value player you would have, right, and this is a fact, is £25.5 million. I'm not lying, check it. Auto value, £25.5 million is the highest value player you would get on the ODB, no matter how many seasons you're into it. Obviously, I'm using a patch here for 2.5. So the highest value player, as you see, is Barcelona's Pedri, £51 million. Now, what you've got to remember is, right, excuse me, what you've got to remember is, right, when I see patcher posts of somebody saying, I just sold a player for £300 million, and my first question is, good, but what inflation are you using? I'm using an inflation of times 8. Well, do you know what? On ODB, the most I'd ever sold a player for was 100 million initially on ODB. My record is actually 124 million straight cash. I've actually had 100 million and another 100 million after appearances on my Freeman game. But let's just say 100 million pounds. So if I've got it on inflation of 2.5, and then I then say I've sold a player for 250 million. Well, that's nothing special because it's no different than selling him for 100 million if I was on a single currency. So that's one thing. Somebody said, "Oh, I start with a lot of money in the bank. I've started with this amount," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, good. How much inflation have you got? Times 6." Well, I've got 2.5. Now, you might be able to just see in the corner there. So you can see, as Man City, we have 405 million in the bank, 381 million transfer funds. If I change my currency to times 4, that's going to start higher. If I change to times 8, it's going to be higher. It's common fucking sense, really. So the currency applies to anything and everything with a value. So let me show you an example on that as well, because a scout. What's the wage of a scout? You can see this guy's on 625. Now on the ODB, the highest you could offer a scout was £2,000. But because I've got this as a 2.5, that is obviously just over 4,000. And the same applies with coaches, whatever coaches, the highest values, so assistant managers. So the value it works in the same principle. So the highest I could offer a scout will be something like 4,500 or something like that. So everything is so whilst I just want it to resemble real life, particularly the transfers, but it isn't just transfers that it applies. If you're going to buy a player for £1 million on the ODB or with normal currency, you then put times 8 on your inflation, that player is going to cost you £8 million. You're not getting him for £1 million because you've done the inflation. So players' wages, let's have a look at basic wage. There you see, Haaland is on 240 grand a week. Now, of course, if I had single currency, as in times 1, it wouldn't be on that. If I show you, let's have a look at who the highest paid. So yeah, Mbappe, yeah, they're all on 200 odd grand a week. And obviously, so it looks like, based on my game, Haaland's one of the highest paid players in the world. And it's the same with bonuses. They're all values. Another value that comes into effect is your gate receipt. So whilst my stadium remains the same as 55,000, and the way you can check this is look at your income and expenditure. Look at your income on season tickets, gate receipts. It all accumulates to more money if you've got your inflation up. And the way you can test that, realistically, is you could have a look at your income, expenditure, and then save it, change the inflation to something different, and then check it again, and you'll see what I mean. So that is, the inflation. I can't stress enough that inflation inflates the whole game. Everything to do with values, and I mean absolutely everything. So if you've got anything you want to add, right, fire it down. Yeah, it's something I've missed or fucked up on, fire it down. I'll take constructive criticism. Just don't call me a cunt. Right. Till next time, guys. From me, take it easy.